Okay, welcome everyone back in our headquarters here at the Agudas Yisrael Beis Zeva Fairways Lakewood, and after a 3-hour plus drive, and we are sponsored by AB Spry, L'Refuah Shalema for Taiba Reis Bas Hinda, and for great zivugim for their daughter and grandchildren. We are sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Ili Nishmas Yaakov Zeben Yodai, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef Ben Sion Ben Yaakov Zev, and for a wonderful shidduch for Chaya Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. We are sponsored by Baruch Yin Lil Nishmas Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba, Esther Bas Yaina, Avram Ben Shmuel HaKain, and for the physical, spiritual, emotional, and physical protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel Ben Beila Shendel Rivka. We are sponsored by Eddie Chazan for the schus of the safety of Gans Klal Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael and world over, and for the safety and success of the Shluchei Rachmana, the IDF, that they should have safety and success in everything that they do. And we are sponsored by Menachem Yemansky, that all those that are looking for a zivik should find it quickly and easily. Okay, we are holding by the new Mishnah on the bottom of Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis. New Mishnah, bottom of Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis. Ir sheyesh by Avodas Koichavim, a city that has idol worship, and they're celebrating a holiday in the city. Chutzala, outside of it, where they're not celebrating, mutter, you're allowed to do business with them outside of the city. If they had a holiday in a suburb outside of the city, toichala mutter, inside the city is mutter. Now, can you travel to a city that is having an idolatrous festival? So it might look like you're traveling to do idol worship. So bizman shaderech miyuchedes la'isei makam, if the road to the city only goes into the city, aser. However, let's say there was a idolatrous festival in Staten Island, but you were passing through Staten Island to go to Brooklyn, to go to Queens. But if you could pass through the city and go elsewhere, then it's not Marisayan, and then it is mutter. Says the Gemara, Heichi Dami Chutzala. What is an example of outside of the city? Rab Shimon ben Lakish, Mishim Rab Chanina, Kegain Atluza Shel Aza. It's like the market square of Aza. The market square of Aza is considered outside of Aza, and therefore, even though there's a idol festival, a pagan festival in Aza, you could go to the marketplace outside of Aza. The Ikad Amrei, there's a different version. Boy Minei Reb Shimon ben Lakish. Reb Shimon ben Lakish inquired of Rebbe Chanina, May Rebbe Chanina, Atluza shel Aza Mao. In the marketplace of Aza, could you do business on a holiday when in Aza there is a holiday going on? Amalei, so he said, Lo halachta l'tzur miyamecha, did you not go to Tzur during your lifetime? V'ra'isa Yisrael v'ovid kechavim sheshavsu shtei kedeiros al gabe kira achas. And you see that a yid and a guy put a pot on the top of a single double stove. A kira is a double stove. So one puts a pot on one of the burners, and the other puts a pot on the other burner. V'lo chashu lahem chachamim. And the Chachamim are not afraid that the Jew's pot will become forbidden because of its being close to the guy's pot. So just like the Chachamim were not concerned in such a case, they're not concerned that even though there's idol worship in Gaza itself, they're not concerned with you doing business in the market of Gaza, even though it's in close proximity. Amar Abaya, now, what does it mean that the rabbis were not worried that even though the two pots were in close proximity? What might they be worried about? So Amar Abaya, the Gemara is going to give us three opinions. Amar Abaya, Mishum Basar Nevela. We're not worried that the Yid will turn his back and the guy might put a piece of Nevela into the Jew's pot. He might turn his back. So similarly over here, the kavasa hachanami loichashulem chachamim mishum demei avedis kechavim. We're not worried that maybe a idolater who sold an idol and his money was asbahana will come and spend the money in the market and you'll get that money. Or one of the priests that offered the money to the idol worship will then come and use that money in the market and you should get that money. Rava says there's a different meaning of loy chashu chachamim. Rava Amar, my loy chashu lahem chachamim. What does it mean that the rabbis were not concerned? Mishum bishulei oivdei kechavim. They're not concerned that because of the close proximity, the guy might stir the Yid's pot or turn on the fire for the Yid, put on the fire for the Yid, and it'll be Asr al Bishalakim. The Kavasa Hachanami Loi Chashu Lehem Chachamim Mishum Yom Edom. That we're not concerned that we're not concerned that because of the proximity to Gaza, the people in the market of Gaza might also be worshiping the pagan festival. And then it would be forbidden to do business with him because he would go and give thanks to his deity. But we're not concerned about that. Rabbi Barula says yet another thing. The Chachamim are not worried that because it's in close proximity, some of the liquid in the guy was cooking up a ham stew, that some of the liquid from the guy's pot might spray into the Yid's pot. The Kavasa Hachanami they weren't worried that, and this is a chiddush, according to Rabbah, he says that the only difference between the market of Gaza and Gaza is that in Gaza you wouldn't be able to do business 3 days before their holiday. In the market of Gaza, we're not concerned that you shouldn't do it before. But on the holiday itself, it is indeed prohibited. Now, I think by now I should be inviting everybody in over here, as we invite Shelley Zeitlin, Saba, Dr. Guy, Elliot Udell, and Elliot did ask us to have in mind he's going to his oncologist, that everything should be good. Elio Tuvia ben Nechama Riba, and Dr. Black has asked us to learn for Yartzeit for Yaakov Daniel ben Eliezer. His neshama should have an aliyah. He should be a melitz yosher for his family, for all of us and all of Klal Yisrael. We welcome in Chaim Kramer. And Chaim, I just want to make sure that you got the word that there is a siyum in the shul tomorrow night at 6:45. Yitzi Fuchs, Menachem Yemansky, Shimon Klein, Dr. Black, Yisrael Fisher, Rabbi Kranz, and Mo Kushner, Shalom Fogel, Yaakov Warman, Yitzi Muller, Eddie Chazan, Michal Avram Chavin, all the way from Boca Raton, Shmuel Eisenberg, also from Florida, Danny Vogel, Nachman Chapler, A. Barbach, Ilya Shutman, Avram Rezepkowitz. Here in the shul, we have the pleasure of having Berish Gesserman and Ruvain Shanet. So says the Gemara, Ma'u leilech l'sham. Are you allowed to go to an idolatrous city, or do we say it looks like you're maybe going to worship? It's Marasayan. So Rabbanan say if it's a road that just leads to that city, you're not allowed to go. But if that road passes through the city and goes to other cities, then you are allowed to go. But that's not universal. Tan Rabbanan sheyesh ba'avedis kechavim also likanes l'saycha. Rameir says it's forbidden to go into it. Nor can you pass through it to go to another city. Because if they're having an idolatrous festival, it looks like you might be going to attend the idolatrous festival. Divrei Rameir. That's the position of Rameir. If that's the only, that road only goes into the city, also. If that road takes you through the city and on to other cities, then it's mutter. And now we'll learn some more about Marasayan. If you got a thorn in your foot in front of an idol, Lo yishchev yitlena, you shouldn't bend down and take out the thorn in front of the idol. It looks like you're bending down to the getchka. But if it doesn't look like it because you turn sideways or you turn your back on the idol, then mutter. Let's say your wallet fell and money scattered in front of the getchka. Lo yishcha v'yitlaim, you can't bend down to pick up the quarters and the nickels and the dimes. It looked to somebody that's looking from a distance that you're bowing down to the idol. But if it doesn't look like that because you're to the side, then mutter. A stream that's flowing in front of an idol. Lo yishcha v'yishta, you shouldn't bend down and drink. It looks like you're bowing down to the idol. If it doesn't look like it, it's mutter. I remember when I told you that I went to the yeshiva of Staten Island for over a decade, and the building, which is the Yeshiva of Staten Island now since 1969, so almost 3/4 of a century. But it's much more than half a century. Was used to be a seminary for nuns. And it had in it getchkas. And by every water fountain, there was an alcove, and in it was a getchka. So the idea is when you bent down and drank the water, you were automatically bowing down to the getchka. Now, of course, they got rid of the getchkas, but the alcove was still there, so you saw it. Now, Partsufais hamekalchim mayim lekrachen. They had images which served as fountains that spurted out water for the cities. Lo yoniach piv al piem v'yishte. You can't put your mouth on their mouth and drink it. Because it looks like you're kissing a getchka. Similarly, Lo yaniach piv al siloin v'yishte. You shouldn't put your mouth on a water pipe that's attached to the ground and drink mipnei asakana. And we'll see that the danger is that you might swallow a water leech, which was very dangerous. Now, my eina nira. What does it mean that you could pick up the money if it doesn't look, if it can't be seen? If it means that it's behind a wall and nobody will see you, that doesn't make it permitted. Because whenever the Chachamim asked something because it looks like you're doing an Aveira, it's even aser in your innermost chambers. Once it's aser el smaris ayin, it's aser even b'chadrei chadarim. So even if it would be enclosed by a wall, you still wouldn't be able to bend down and pick it up. We welcome in Stephen Holtzman, and we welcome in Avram Schenkman. Avram, it's really great to have you. We're holding on Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph, and we're holding on Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph, and we're holding 8 lines from the bottom. Ela ema im einoi nira kimishtach v'laved. If it doesn't look like you're bowing down to the idol, because as I said, you were turning to the side when you bend down, so it doesn't look like you're turning to the idol, then it's mutter. Utsricha, and we need all 3 cases. Di'itanakites, because if it says that to bend down, to take out a thorn, maybe it's usher in front of an idol. You don't have to do it exactly there. You could walk a few paces and then bend down and take out the thorn. But your money that fell in front of the idol, that's not possible because you can't go somewhere else to pick up your money. Your money fell there. I might say it's permitted. And if it says money, that's because it's only money. This tzara, but the thorn, which is pain, maybe that they allowed. There's no danger. But when it comes to drinking, that if you don't drink now, you maybe you'll be in a sakana, you might dehydrate. A person that dehydrates could be in a big sakana. I know somebody that collapsed, and they thought maybe he collapsed because he dehydrated. If he doesn't drink, he might die. I might think we don't put any restrictions. Tzricha, no, even that you shouldn't do. Rather, you should turn to the side.
So it's not sakanas fashas.
What?
It's not sakanas fashas, that type of situation.
Well, even if it was a sakanas fashas, it might be yerek val yavar. It's abizrayu daroyas.
What?
It's abizrayu daroyas. Avoda Zara. But when it happens to you, you should call your local rabbi. Pirtzufa Islamali. Why does it say the case of the faces? That seems to be the same thing. Of course, you shouldn't put your mouth to it because you might looks like you're kissing an Avoda Zara. Mishim de kabay lemisnei kayaytzibay. Similarly, lo yaniach piv al gabei asalain, that you shouldn't put your mouth on the pipe. V'yishtem mipnei asakana. So the question is, my sakana, what's the danger? Says the Gemara, aluka, the danger is a water leech. Similarly, tan rabban lo yishta adamayim lo min naras, you shouldn't drink straight from a river, v'lo min agamim, or a marsh, lo befiv, not with your hand, not with your mouth, v'lo b'yoda yachas, and not with one hand, because one hand, the water seeps out of it quickly, so you have to drink it fast without looking. And if you drink with one hand or with your mouth, your blood is on your own head. Again, says the Gemara, my sakana. What's the danger? Sakonas aluka. It's the danger of a water leech. Messiah Leila Reb Chanina. This is a proof to Reb Chanina. The Amar Reb Chanina, habayleya nima shalmayim. If you swallow a leech of the water, mutar lahachim leichamim b'Shabbos. It's a sakonas nefashis, and therefore you could be mechal Shabbos and boil water for him on the Shabbos. He swallowed a water leech. V'hitter Reb Nechemya lahachim leichamim b'Shabbos. Reb Nechemya permitted them to boil water for him in the Shabbos, and he said since he might die before the water gets boiled up, in the meantime, Amar Avuna B'Rei Shmuel ligma chala, he should swallow strong vinegar, because that will act as an antidote. Amar Rav Idi Ba'avin, Haiman debola zibura, if somebody swallows a poisonous hornet, michya lo yichaya, he's not going to live. Mio lishke reviasa de chala shamgas. He should drink a revias of strong shamgas vinegar. Efshe dechaya, a person that might allow him to live a little bit. Ad the mifked abese, that he should instruct his family about his affairs.
When he eats these things, leech and horn, doesn't that die inside of him?
It either it lives long enough to cause a problem, or it's poisonous even when dead. Tan Rabbanan, lo yishta adam mayim b'layla. Now here we're not talking about uncovered water, which is a problem of the venom of a snake. This is talking about water in the night from a river, because there's a demon over it, an evil spirit over it by the name of Shavriri. V'im shasa, if he drinks it, damai b'roishay mipnei ha-sakana. My sakana, what's the sakana? Sakana Shavriri, the spirit Shavriri. V'im tzochi, if he's very thirsty, my takante. So ii kachrina b'hadei, if he has somebody else with him, l'sraye, he should wake him up. V'leimale, and tell him tzachina maya, because this spirit doesn't harm when there's two people. V'ilai, if not, he should say the following incantation. He should nekakesh b'nekasma achatzma. He should rattle the lid on top of the pitcher, making noise. V'neima iu l'nafshe, and he should say to himself, Planya bar planisa, saying his name and the name of his mother. Amr lach imech, your mother told you, is dar, be careful, mishavriri, and then diminish the name of the evil spirit. Mishavriri, vrire, rire, yire, ri, and he adds, because a chivre, in white goblets. You should say this incantation, and it will protect him from the spirit of Shavrire. Now, the Mishnah tells us here, sheyesh ba'avodas kechavim, a city that has idol worship, and they usually have, on their holiday, they have a market day. And the marketeers that participate, they pay a tax to the church. So, ir sheyesh b'avodas kechavim, v'hayu b'chanuyos mutaros v'she'enon mutaros. There are stores, some of them are decorated, and some of them are not decorated. Zeh Yamaisa b'Beishan. This was an incident in Beishan. V'amru chachamim, and the chachamim said, hamutaros, those that are decorated, so they're participating in the pagan holiday, and they give a tax, asurais. You cannot purchase from them. V'she'enon mutaris, but those that are not decorated are mutaris, are permitted. Says the Gemara, Amr Reb Shimon Lakish, Loishanu, Reb Shimon Lakish says a chiddush now. Loishanu el mutaris bevered v'hadas. It's only if the shops that are decorated, it's only if they were decorated with roses and myrtle. Because these roses and myrtle were first offered in front of the Avoda Zara, and they became asabana as takruvas Avoda Zara. And now, when they decorate the shop with the roses and the myrtle, if you go into the shop, you'll be smelling them. And takruvas Avoda Zara is also to smell, and you'll be over lo yidbak biyadcha mu'uma min acherem. There shouldn't be anything that cleaves to you from that which is forbidden. The komisani merecha avo mutaris papyrus, but if they're decorated with fruit, mutaris. My timer, dama kra lo yidbak biyadcha mu'uma min acherem. They shouldn't cleave to your hand anything from that which is forbidden. Nenu da'aser, you're not allowed to benefit from it, and therefore you're not allowed to smell it and benefit. Avol mahana, but to give benefit to the store, even though they pay a tax to the church, that's shari, that's permitted. He doesn't hold that it's forbidden for that reason. Now, Rabbi Yochanan is going to disagree. We'll learn about that tomorrow night. We'll stop over here. Now, Rabbi say, we are going to do a chok. It's not a long chok because it's the chok of the Friday, so it's not a long chok. Also, it's very interesting because the Zohar is from what we say in Kegavna, those that daven Svard. I daven Ashkenaz, but those that daven Svard, it's the Zohar is from what we say Kegavna on Friday night. Also, the Mishnayos, which is very difficult Mishnayos, but it's from Masechtas Olos, one of the hardest Masechtas in Shas, but it's only 3 Mishnayos. So 3 Mishnayos we probably could handle without too much difficulty.